Bible study tools. The first tool that you need to have, of course, is a Bible. Another tool, especially if we're talking about books, is a Strong's Exhaustive Concordance. Now, if you exclusively use computer-aided Bible studies, you might not need a paper edition of this. But I still have, I have one at home and I have one in my office, and I don't have one in the trunk of my car anymore, but I've given a lot of these away too. Lexical aids are really important to have. Vine's Expository Dictionary and Zodhiates' Word Study, Old Testament and New Testament, as well as his dictionary for the Old Testament and the New Testament. Zodhiates, Spiros Zodhiates, is a Greek scholar, and his works are just fantastic, I think. I love the Word Study Old Testament and the Word Study New Testament, because what he did is, in the Scriptures, in the Bible, he had the Strong's number above each one of the words. And it made it very easy then to go back into the lexicon that he had in the back of his word study book and look these up. Some of the words he had his own definitions for, and then in his dictionary it is very complete. So if you really want to go full bore on a lexical aid, you would get Zodhiates' works. It's good to have a Bible dictionary. We used to, in this class, always have people buy not only a Strong's and a Vine's and Zodhiates' word studies, but we'd have them buy an Unger's Bible dictionary. Now, there are so many different Bible dictionaries, and there's some really good ones out there. Unger's is just kind of a standard work. There's nothing fancy about it. It has some pictures. I don't even know if it's been updated, though. I remember the one I had, the pictures were all black and white, but that was okay. It was kind of cool. And I was able to look up all these things that, well, just reading the Bible, I wouldn't have known. You know, I was able to do a lot of circumstantial study, finding out things by using my Unger's Bible dictionary. And then a Bible Atlas. It's really important. We used to always have people buy Baker's Bible Atlas. And in fact, this kind of was my arsenal when I went to Bible school all those years ago. I had my Thompson Chain Reference Bible. I had my Strong's Exhaustive Concordance. I had a Vine's Expository Dictionary. I didn't have Zodhiates' word studies because they weren't out yet. They hadn't been written down. But I had an Unger's Bible Dictionary, and I had a Baker's Bible Atlas, so that I could see, you know, the lay of the land, so to speak. And now, though, with the computer-aided Bible studies we have, it's just fantastic. So you might not need all of these hard copy books. Computer-aided Bible study has made such a difference. It's just amazing. The very first computer Bible program I had was on 5 1/4-inch floppy disks, and it was so totally unusable. It was the King James Bible, the text of the King James Bible, on 23 5 1/4-inch floppy disks that took forever to read, and there was absolutely no way to search them. It was the most unusable thing I ever spent $250 on. And back when I did that, that was a huge amount of money for me. But now, the Bible study tools that we have, computer software, it's just fantastic. One that I recommend and I use all the time myself is eSword. And you can use it on your desktop and you can use it on your laptop. It is for a PC, though. And the best part about it is absolutely free. Rick Myers, who developed this, has put together an exceedingly powerful program. Now, I've had some really expensive software before. I have had Logos Bible software, and that is a very robust package. It's a lot of people have it. It costs a lot of money, but I didn't find it any more valuable to me than eSword, and eSword was free. One of the reasons why we have Contenders Bible School is so that we can equip people for the ministry, and they can go into the ministry debt-free, because we don't charge you tuition. We don't charge you anything. So I'm always looking for the least expensive way that I can give you tools, and e-sword.net is it. Well, I have an Android phone. That's an amazing thing. I can remember the first computer I had, and I had to actually enter programs in it to get it to do anything, and I dare not turn it off because the program would go away. But now my phone is a computer. It's just an amazing thing. And I have the Bible, not just the Bible text, but I have a Bible program on my phone that is almost as powerful as eSword. It's called My Sword, and you can find this at mysword.info. You can find it too on the Google store for your Android device. It works on all Android devices. And with it, you can search the Greek words. You can bring up the Strong's definitions for words and way more. It's an excellent piece of software. And they make an eSword for an iPad too. So if you have an iPad or you have an iPhone, eSword itself, the full-blown eSword, is available for you. They didn't put out eSword for an Android, so somebody else did. So these are, I don't know if eSword for iPad is free. I would like to think it is, but I don't know because I don't have an iPad. Online Bible study tools, though, now it's just amazing what is available without having to download it to a device. One of my favorite ones is BibleHub.com, because at BibleHub there are multiple tools. And it's BibleHub, all one word, .com. And we're going to look at some of these here in a minute and just open them up so that you can see what they look like on screen. But there's so many tools available here. Another one that I really like is the Blue Letter Bible. Actually, it's not the Blue Letter Bible. It is Blue Letter Bible, all one word, .org. And it is word studies, great aids to help you study in the original languages. And then there's Bible Gateway. And I use this one all the time for scripture links. When I put up a blog post and I will embed a hyperlink in there, sometimes it might appear to be a verse, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a few words that I put together, and I'll embed a link in them that will send people to a Bible verse, and I use Bible Gateway to do that. It will direct people right to Bible Gateway. Bible Gateway doesn't have the same kind of study tools that Bible Hub or Blue Letter Bible has, but it is a good site for people to look up Scripture and to read Scripture on. So I'm going to go back through these now, and we'll actually see if we can click on them and bring them up here on the screen. Just wanted you to see what, when you go to e-sword, what it looks like. You'll be able to download eSword, and like I said, it's absolutely free, and you can download it, and this is what it will look like when it comes up on your screen, and I'm going to open it up here on ours in just a minute. My Sword, for your Android device, if you go on your computer, now I can't put on the screen here my Android device, but this is what it looks like on a PC. And this is the little symbol right there, so you'll know that you're on the right place, mysword.com. And again, this one's absolutely free. Now you can donate to them, and Rick Myers will even let you donate to them. And as a church, we've actually donated before to the esword.net, just because I'm just so thankful for the work that he's done. And I have been handing out this program for a long time. We'll go to, in fact, I think what I'm going to do is actually open up Bible Hub and we'll go there to Bible Hub. So we have this on our computer. Now, when you get to the Bible Hub screen, sometimes there's just so many things. It's like, well, where do I go? Wow, look at all this. There's like, well, there's a Bible, but there's a concordance, and oh man, there's an encyclopedia and a library, and here's Strong's. That's right, he talked about Strong's, and there's all these fancy buttons that I can press on. So what I'm going to do is right up here in this search thing, I'm going to put in 2 Timothy 3:16, because that's that verse we looked at, right? So I hit enter, and we went to 2 Timothy 3:16. Look at all the stuff that's available here. I could go to maps. I can find parallel verses. I can find the context for it, that is the verses before and the verses after. I can find cross-references to it that say similar things. It's just, this has got the treasury of Scripture knowledge. I've talked to you about that before, the TSK. Just great tools. But what I was really interested in is I thought, I want to go to the Greek. I want to see what that's like in the Greek. So here I just click on that Greek tab right here, and I can pick whatever version I want, but really what I want right now is the Greek. So I don't care whether I put it in the King James, because that's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Greek thing here. And so now I can see, here's Strong's number. See how important Strong's is? We've become so modern now, we just have this available online. We'll never get away from Strong's numbers because they're so important. That is a clickable link, too, that would take me to Strong's definition. And so here we have the Strong's definition for this word, and that's what it would kind of look like if you looked it up in Strong's Concordance. You would see there's different variations here. There's pas or pasa, and it depends on what Greek text you're looking at, and it tells you the short definition and gives you the fuller definition and all these other different words that are related to it, as well as it tells you how many times that word occurs. That's a lot of times. But then that's just the New Testament, right? Because this is Greek. And the Greek is the New Testament. So we're going to go backwards on that because I want you to see this. We get our transliteration. And when I mouse over that, it says pasa, and then it gives me the definition, every. Here's how it appears in Greek writing. Here's the English, and then our morphology. See that it's an ADJ and then it's a -NFS. Wow. Well, I wonder what that is. I already know, but I'm going to click on it so we can find out together. Okay. Well, ADJ is adjective. And after you do this for a while, you will get used to what these are, and you won't have to look them up every time. But when you start out, you might have to look them up. You might forget. And so do you know what an adjective is? Remember, it's something that modifies a noun. So we see that it's an adjective, and the case, this is where the NFS comes in. The case is the nominative, and the gender is feminine, and the number is singular. Well, if I thought that was important, I thought I needed to know it for that word, well, then I would write that down. Okay, that's what I said. When you look up the morphology, if you find something that's important, I want you to write that down. Well, here's another one. When this graphe is scripture, and notice this word is in brackets. That's because it's been added in our English translations to help us get the sense. But it doesn't appear in the original. In the original, it's just every scripture God breathed, as we saw before. But notice that this one is an NFS. Well, we already know that this is the nominative, and this is the feminine, and this is the singular. What do you think the N is? Well, let's see. The in is a noun. So I probably won't need to look that one up again. I can remember that. I can remember adjective, and I can remember noun. And here it is again. Here's adjective. And that is for theopneustos. And so you could go through all of these words. And this is when I said I wanted you to use Bible Hub to look up the morphology so that you could see how these words were used. Okay? Let's go to the Blue Letter Bible. This is what Blue Letter Bible looks like when you first open it up. If you just go to blueletterbible.org, this is what it will look like. Well, let's just go ahead and put in 2 Timothy 3:16 and do a search on that and see what we get. Did I spell it wrong? What did I do? Oh, I did. I missed the M. Okay, 2 Timothy 3:16. I wonder if that was an invalid reference. Now, it gave me two different verses here because it feels that the context is really important. It gives me 3:17 too. Oh, by the way, you are going to need to memorize 2 Timothy 3:16 and 17. Did I tell you that before? Okay. And did I tell you 2 Timothy 2:15? Good. Okay, so it gives me both of these, but I'm interested right now in this particular one. But do you see this box over here that says Tools? And when I mouse over Tools, it opens up all those tools there? Cool. Look at all this stuff. I mean, there's an interlinear. Remember, an interlinear gives me not only the English, but it gives me the Greek. There are Bibles. That means different versions of Bibles. There's cross-references. There's commentaries. Who's the best commentator on 2 Timothy 3:16? Well, the Bible is, of course. Now, it doesn't hurt to read other commentaries, but remember, always remember, the Bible is its own best commentator, and there's dictionaries and there's miscellaneous. I'm just going to click on Tools, and we open this up, and it looks an awful lot like what we had before in the Bible Hub. We have the whole verse up here for us in the Greek. We have the English words that are down here on the side, the Strong's number, and then we have this little speaker. And if we click on the speaker, then we can get the sound.
3956. Pas. Pas.
Wow, that's a help. How about this word right here? Let's see what that word sounds like.
Strong's G 1124. Graphe. Graphe.
You got to roll that R. Graphe. Graphe. For me, it's easier just to say graphe, but that's not correct.
Strong's G 2315. Theopneustos. Theopneustos.
He doesn't pronounce the P. He says theopneustos, and that's fine, but theopneustos is the way I was taught to say it. It doesn't really matter so much. And anyway, you can go through all of these words and you can learn how to say them. You might not learn Greek all at once, but I bet if you spent enough time doing this, you would be able to look at this right here and you'd say, that doesn't quite look like pas. That looks more like pasa, because in the Textus Receptus, it's not pas, it's pasa. And you would get to know this word here, and you would say, that's graphe. And this word will really stand out to you. I bet even now, after having seen it so many times here, you realize that this is theopneustos or theopneustos. And this one's pretty easy. It's Chi.
Strong's G 2532. Chi.
That's an easy one. Chi. And it means and. Okay, so the Bible Gateway, I thought I ought to show you a Bible Gateway so you can see what that looks like. They have a few advertisements, but it's nothing that's going to really trip you up. Notice that you can pick your version right here on the Bible Gateway. And if you type in the verse that you want, I'm just going to put Tim and see if, it puts it up there for me, and see if it can figure that out. I'll just put 2 Tim, I better put a 3 in there. and it was able to figure out what I wanted, even though I didn't write Timothy all the way in. And I have it in the New International Version. See how that works? And if I want to send a verse to someone, I can have this read to me and everything. If I wanted to send this verse to someone, then I just go up and the upper window here, click on it once. I go Control-C to copy, and then in my email or on my blog post or whatever, I got Control-V to poke it in there, and that will give them that verse. And it's nice to be able to share verses. There's other programs that you can use to share verses too. Let's see, this one right here is an interesting one, Precept Austin. Many of you have probably already heard of Precept Ministries and their inductive Bible studies. This site is not officially linked with Precept Ministries, but this is a person that has developed their own Bible study site, and they link back to Precept Ministries, but it is rich with Greek word study tools, commentaries, Bible dictionaries, Bible maps, and you could just spend a long time on this site. And it would be a great resource for you too as far as studying the Scripture. So I wanted you to be able to see that one. And then I'm going to open up my version of eSword that I have on this computer. So I want you to see how I use eSword. Close all our tabs. Stop my PowerPoint show here. And open up eSword. I use eSword at home on my computer all the time. I use it on my sword on my phone, and I just love it. On eSword, over on the left-hand side, on this pane over here, you have all the books of the Bible, and you can select whatever book that you want. Let's select 2 Timothy. And I'm going to select the chapter, which is chapter 3. And now I have chapter 3 in this viewing pane right here, and I could scroll down with the scroll bar to 2 Timothy 3:16. I happen to have this in the King James Version right now, but I can, by clicking on this tab, put it in the King James Plus. King James Plus will give me all of the Strong's numbers. So now I have the Strong's numbers there, and I can just mouse over that number, and it gives me not only the Strong's number, but it gives me the Strong's definitions as well. And I have a pane opened up down here where it says Dictionaries. This is the way I usually use it. So in Dictionaries, if I double-click on this green 3956, then it appears down here in my Strong's pane. And I wanted to show you something about Strong's. This is something that I learned early on, and it was really kind of neat. Is he gives the definition for the word, and then there is a colon and a long dash. It's called an M dash. The colon and the M dash after the definition. Then I find these different words here, and this is all the different ways that word, that Greek word, is used in our English Bibles. For example, Scripture. I'll double-click on that, graphe, and we find that it is only used one way, and that is the word Scripture. But there are other words that are used differently. I could click on doctrine, didaskalia. We looked at that word before. I find what word it came from, and just by mousing over that, I can see that it comes from didaskalos, which means an instructor or a teacher. But didaskalia is instruction. It's the actual function of giving information. And with the colon and the dash, I see that it was translated by the English word doctrine, but it was also translated in another place by the English word learning, and in another place by the English word teaching. So this one Greek word, for reasons known to the translator, and if you actually look these up, you'll find out why. One place it's called doctrine, another place it's called learning, and in another place it's called teaching. And so we can go through these different tools and just see what other people had to say about it. You notice that in this pane here there are tabs. Every time there is a blue dot with an I in it, that means there is information. There's information in Strong's, there's information in Thayer's, and there is the information here in the King James Concordance. I don't have anything in Easton's dictionary or Torrey's or Webster's or Hitchcock's. These are the only tabs that I would bother clicking on. So I'll just click on Thayer's, and then it brings up Thayer's definition, didaskalia. It's teaching, instruction, or it's teaching and that which is taught, the doctrine, the teachings, the precepts. It gives me the part of speech, which I didn't get from Strong's. It's a noun, and it tells me that it's in the feminine, and it's a related word, and then it gives me some other citations that I can look at. Now, I have 4 different panes up here. You can unpin these panes. This little thing right here allows you to shut them off if you want, and they go away, and then you have to bring them back. So sometimes I won't have the dictionary pane out. If I want the dictionary, I would just go back up to the top here, and I guess I won't do it that way. Then I would have the large dictionary, and I have the whole thing. If I go to this tab up here, it breaks it up into the panes where I have all the panes out, and then I can come over to this left side and get my dictionary if I want. So it will appear or it will disappear. If I go ahead and I pin it back, then it pins back to my desktop. Do you see how that works? Now over here in this commentaries section, I wanted to point the commentaries out because even though we don't necessarily want you to go to the commentaries first of all, I really want you to study the Scripture on your own first. One that is really important, I think, is Robertson's word pictures. It's not a lexicon, but it helps us as we're looking at these words. Notice that he gives us a didactic, a teaching on every Scripture inspired of God is also profitable. He gives us pasagraphe, theopnestos, kai, and philimos, and he tells us about those words, and it's really, I found really helpful, the information that I get out of Robertson's word pictures. And so it'd be good for you to check that out, but you're not going to find it over here because it's not really a lexicon. It's not really a dictionary at all, but it is more of kind of an expository dictionary of New Testament words. Notice also this VWS, and there is a blue circle with an I in it, which means there's something there. That's Vine's word study. So we want to use Vine's. Remember I talked to you about that before? So it gives us all Scripture is given by inspiration, and see, it's just this one word, is given by inspiration of God. In your English, your King James English Bible is really just this one word, theopnestos. And it's helpful for me to know that, to understand that. And I can read what Vine had to say about that. I'll learn a whole lot more. I don't necessarily want to, at this point, though, go to any of the other commentaries. I just want to use Robertson's word pictures here or Vine's. Sometimes I will go to the Jamieson Fawcett Brown, the JFB. It can get pretty lengthy if you really want to start digging in deep. Notice that just this one passage here, all Scripture, he goes into a great big long detail. So if you really want to dig in deep, you can go to the Jamieson, Fawcett, and Brown. That's kind of it for the eSword. There are so many different Bibles that come with it that are free because they're in the public domain. There are a few, though, that if you want, you would have to pay for. If you thought that you wanted to have, like, say, the Message, or you want to have the New King James, you can purchase those. And I've done that. I don't happen to have them on this computer I'm using right here, but you just go to the download menu, and there you can download Bibles, and you can download reference books, and there's also graphics, there's also maps and things like that that you can. Some of them are free, some of them are not. So in Bibles, when I click on that, what it does is it opens up a download module. And in that download module, I can pick the different ones that I want to add. And you notice that there is a group of them that are free, and that's because they're in the public domain. And then there are those that you can purchase. And if you click on them, you can buy them. And then it will just add them in. And they're not really that expensive. Some of them, I don't know, $10 to maybe $20. But if you buy a Bible in a Bible bookstore, it's going to cost you some money too. And they put a lot of work in these. You can also get commentaries. You can download more graphics. You can even download devotions. Some people like to do their devotions on the computer, and they want to have this resident on their computer. The difference between having it on your computer and having it online is, if you're going to have it online, that means you need to be connected. You need to have a Wi-Fi connection, or you need to have 4G. A lot of people have that available, but not everybody does. So if you can download Bible software and or purchase it and have it right on your computer, then whether you have internet access or not is a moot point. However, to download things, you would need to have Wi-Fi. But I've found that eSword, through their download module right up here, downloads things seamlessly, and it happens really quickly too, so it's not a big deal. Okay, we're going to get back to our assignment. You didn't think you were going to get away without an assignment, did you? I hope not. Your assignment is an exegesis. That's the first step in our Bible study method. So remember, the first step is to select the limit and to read the selected passage several times. But I'm not going to let you all just select your own passage. I've selected one for you. And it's one that we're going to use in all of our 5 steps. And it's one I think is really important because it's going to teach you some things about Bible study, and I think it's going to help you as a Christian. I think it's really an important passage. It's just, to me, it makes a huge difference in my life, but I think it's made a huge difference in this church too, as we've had so many people study 1 John 1:1 through 2:2. It's made a difference here, and as you start studying this, you'll see why. You cannot study 1 John 1:1 through 2:2 without it affecting you, without it changing you. So I want you to take that limit, and yes, it does break over the chapter barrier. Somehow or other, we'll have to force ourselves to go beyond one chapter, but it's really important that we do, because that passage actually extends past the chapter barrier. So you follow the 6 steps of exegesis using. You can either use books, if you don't have a computer and you want to use a Strong's Concordance, that's great. That's the way I did it when I started. Use your Strong's Concordance and use a Vines. If you don't have a Vines and you want one, I can come up with one for you. I can even find a Zodhiates set somewhere, but I'd have to ask you to buy it from me, because I think that they're brand new. We still have some around here for sale. And I want you to go ahead and go through all these steps. But if you don't want to use books, if you want to use computer software, I would suggest that if you haven't already purchased and you don't already have a Bible program that you use and you're familiar with, if you do, that's fine, because there's plenty of them. I would suggest you download eSword. And if you do it do it for your iPhone and do it for your Android phone with MySword as well, so that wherever you're at, you have access to that. If you want to use online tools, the online tools that I've shared with you, they are great. And in fact, they're superior in so many ways. Bible Hub and Blue Letter Bible, with just those two right there, I mean, you can do it all. And I want you to ultimately write out the passage, adding any of these alternate or noteworthy definitions. I want you to write that out. I want you to bring it to class next time so that we can look at it. And for those that are watching this on the video, if you're doing this as a distance learner on your own, don't take a shortcut and think, well, I'm not in a class and nobody's going to look and nobody will know. You could do that, but you really won't get the benefit unless you actually write this down. And it's going to be important if you're going to follow on with this Bible study method. This is not the easy Bible study method. This is not the Bible study method where we get together and we read 1 John chapter 1, and we don't go into chapter 2 because, why, we never do. And we just say, well, I don't know, Billy Bob, what do you think it means? And everybody just gives their own opinion and we all just share our ignorance. That's not the kind of Bible study this is. And this isn't the kind of Bible study either that a lot of people have done. You know, they've done inductive Bible studies and that's good. But this gets a little bit more aggressive because you're going to actually come out of this with a message to preach. You should be able then to share this passage of Scripture with other people, because you will know not only what it says, but you will know what it means. And having written that down, you will be able to articulate it. So don't shortchange yourself by not doing this assignment. And if you have an instructor or a teacher there, hopefully they'll hold your feet to the fire like I'm going to hold these people's feet to the fire here. Now that's the end of this session. Thanks for being here.